It is easy to look at a modern logistics hub and think you are seeing peak efficiency. Thousands of shipping containers move through these automated port facilities in a tightly choreographed dance. But the physical machinery is a distraction. The digital infrastructure actually directing all those ships and trucks is shockingly fragile. It runs on a patchwork of static spreadsheets, bilateral contracts, and long, tangled email threads. This setup creates what economists call information asymmetry. Because a company usually only communicates with the vendor directly upstream or the buyer directly downstream, nobody has a complete picture of the entire route. As a result, the entire system is forced to be reactive. The global supply chain spends most of its time simply waiting for fragmented information to slowly trickle from one node to the next. This animated diagram models how that delay creates chaos. Look at the far right, at the retail node. Let's say consumer demand for a specific product drops by a minor margin, just 5%. The retailer reacts to that small dip by canceling their future orders. That sends a slightly amplified warning signal one node over to the regional distributor. The distributor looks at that canceled order, assumes the market is softening, and drastically slashes their own forecasts. By the time that signal reaches the raw materials manufacturer weeks later, it compounds into a massive shockwave. This is the bullwhip effect in action, and it exposes the danger of single-source blindness. The companies buried deep in the production cycle are completely unaware of their shared dependencies until that shockwave hits and forces them to shut down the factory line. Logistics experts have tried to solve this for decades. The standard proposed fix was to force every participant onto a single shared software system. But to do that, suppliers have to hand over their proprietary data to the exact same network their direct competitors use. They refuse. Supply chain companies are trapped in a paralyzing paradox. They must choose between flying completely blind or surrendering their most valuable competitive secrets. The way out of this trap is an architecture called a Wise Autonomous Organization, or WAO. A supply chain WAO doesn't try to replace the software these companies already use. Instead, it acts as a neutral shared intelligence layer that sits right above their existing infrastructure. At the center of this layer is the Wisdom Vault. You can think of this as a permissioned data sharing environment where competitors can safely pool their operational data without exposing their trade secrets. If you look at this diagram, you can see how the cryptography protects the participants. Two separate companies feed their generic inventory data into a central secure hub. The vault processes that information and outputs a unified optimization plan to both of them. Meanwhile, their highly sensitive pricing data remains locked away at their individual local nodes. Because the WAO handles the trust mathematically, fierce competitors can finally achieve collective intelligence. They get the benefit of a shared view without the risk of exposure. But data sitting in a vault doesn't move freight. The WAO relies on a specialized roster of AI agents, an active digital workforce that constantly monitors the vault to eliminate coordination bottlenecks before they can cascade. Bringing back our supply chain graphic, let's look at the demand signal agent. Instead of letting that 5% retail drop bounce slowly through the middlemen, this agent aggregates the sell-through data and beams it directly to the upstream manufacturer in real time. While that's happening, an inventory optimization agent monitors safety stock across the entire network. It suggests reallocations to balance the load, preventing localized stockouts before they happen. And if a port suddenly closes, the carrier coordination agent takes over. It monitors global freight capacity and instantly calculates a new routing path around the disruption to maintain the physical flow of goods. These agents act like a collective immune system for global logistics. They absorb both the information shocks and the physical delays, ensuring that a localized problem never spirals into a global crisis. The modern supply chain has always been a brittle, sequential process, a literal chain of waiting. The WAO turns it into a simultaneous, responsive network. By sharing real-time context, this architecture retires the disruption amplification tax. A small shift in retail demand no longer creates enormous volatility for the people pulling raw materials out of the ground. It cures single-source blindness because the network itself understands its deep-tier dependencies, even if the individual human managers cannot access the proprietary details. To build a resilient global logistics system, we don't need a single megacorporation to own every ship, truck, and factory. True resilience comes from proving that trust and coordination are the most powerful technologies we have.